Hi, I'm Polly, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about Nan and Brian in Bed, New York City, a photograph by Nan Goldin. Do you ever look at a picture, a painting, or even listen to a song, and feel that sudden instinctive connection, almost as if you're already there? That feeling of being immersed in the story that's been laid out for you by the artist, becoming a part of their narrative. Seeing this picture for the first time, my senses were immediately overwhelmed, and I felt as though I was transported to the end of that bed. The warmth of the radiant golden glow that graces their faces just tickles my cheeks, and the thick stench of cheap cigarettes clinging to the dirty bed linens. The dancing plumes of smoke making me wince, and my eyes begin to well up. I can hear the early morning bustle of New Yorkers, the harmony of faint honks from the cars below, angrily tuning up like some kind of mechanical orchestra. The inanimate figures in the foreground give back nothing but silence. From what we can see here, they are nothing but a couple, basking in the morning's radiance, allowing bare sunlight to hit their exposed skin, simply sitting amongst the ambience of the city and finding solitude in their own silence. But nothing can pull my attention away from Nan's watchful glare. Her mouth is not visible behind her shoulder. She's curled in a fetal position as if she were protectively shielding her body. Her eyes appear ever so slightly puffy from exhaustion, and her ominous black hole pupils act as if they are sucking all the oxygen from out of the room, focused on him like prey. For all we know, she may be smiling, but why is it that that is so hard for us to believe? It's uncertain whether she holds a loving or fearful gaze, or maybe these lines are far beyond blurred for Nan. This piece is merely a connecting piece in a series called The Ballad of Sexual Dependencies, currently displayed at the Museum of Modern Art, created by the renowned American photographer Nan Goldin, a collection of photographs that revolve around her and her friends' relationships, drug use, parties, sex and love, and maybe most of all, how all of these become dependencies, as the title would suggest. It quickly becomes apparent to anyone fortunate enough to view Goldin's work that she did not create art to glorify her life. Her photography was up close, personal, and harsh, and never for the faint of heart. She never intended to please anyone through her work, for where's the pleasure in lying when it makes no change whatsoever? It was her life. Nan and Brian in Bed, New York City is in sequence with one of her most famous pieces of work titled Nan, 1 month after being battered. I've decided to show you this photo after depicting the first one, as it truly shifts your view and it highlights the naivety of our assumptions as outsiders, the assumption of happiness and normality, and the absence of the shocking reality that we just choose to ignore. As a preface to those watching, the next photo depicts minor injuries as a result of domestic violence. Much as the title would infer, this is Nan, 1 month after being battered, by Brian. Her relationship with Brian was tumultuous, fueled by dependency, a sick love affair in which never ended well for either of them. Her eye is crimson red and her cheeks have been painted by his fists in an off-putting orangey brown hue. As a heavy contrast, her neck is adorned with pearls. Hidden beneath the fabric of her dress, her hair is groomed and styled, and the little light there is bounces off of her luxurious curls. And yet, she doesn't stare back into the camera in pain, nor does she look tearful or helpless. Her countenance is completely neutral. She holds the same thoughtful gaze as she did, lying on that bed, staring at her lover. Here, what she has lost for in facial emotion, she has made up for in thoughts and questions. As an audience, we can almost hear them circulating the room now that we've become part of her narrative. She does not shy away from the camera, neither posing nor caught completely off guard. This is her reality, as upsetting, brutal, and grim as it may be. She is telling us the truth. It almost feels like a repellent. She looks as if she can already feel the judgmental stares on her. Why on earth would she ever do this to herself? How could she ever love a man like that? What would possess her to stay with someone who did this to her? The only answer can be an all-consuming dependency. We now know that the vague puffiness in her eyes was not from sleep deprivation, but healing wounds. We now know the meaning of that ambiguous look on her face, whether it be questioning why she yearns for Brian still, after all he has put her through, her body having taken the fall, or maybe just her acceptance of this never-ending cycle of violence and lust. That soft, golden glow of city ambience has lost its heavenly touch now, and it's gained the form of a thick cloud of city smog, a smoky blanket clouding over the skyscrapers. I can feel the uncomfortable humidity of pollution as it clogs my airways, infected by the corruption of its people. Brian is facing away from us. Perhaps he is looking away in shame. We as an audience know what he has done, and we resent him for it. We wish for him to experience the hurt that Nan has endured at the hand of someone that he trusts the most. Or maybe he's simply lost his humanity to Nan. It's possible that we are now seeing him through her eyes. He's no longer a human to love, but an object to rely and be dependent on. A robot with a cycle and a routine that she so dearly craves. And in seeing his face, that would only confirm his human nature. He does not hide away in the shadows like Nan. He has the privilege to expose himself to the city. Unafraid of the bright light, he does not cower beneath reality. Not one tarnish to his skin. As far as we can see, his back is bruiseless, scarless, besides the scattered moles down his spine. This infers that Nan has not become resistant to the fighting, but perhaps tells us that over time she has become worn down from his constant battering and has lost the instinct to defend herself. This complete juxtaposition of Brian and Nan is exactly how Goldin registered heterosexual relationships. This series deals with what Goldin perceived as the irreconcilability between men and women, almost as if they came from two different planets. Despite this incompatibility, Goldin observed this intense need for coupling between them, which also exists in abusive and destructive relationships. And so, the question stands, why is this piece of work so important? Why today? Considering this series was developed in the late 70s and 80s in Boston, New York, Berlin. Why today, in 21st century Britain, is it still relevant? Nan has never shied away from being political. In fact, the majority of her works revolve around issues such as domestic violence, abusive relationships, drugs, and the AIDS crisis, as well as celebrating the much oppressed LGBTQ+ community that she had a dear affiliation with. The answer to the relevance of this piece can be found in the simple statistic that in Britain, 1 in 5 adults have experienced domestic violence in their lifetime. This equates to 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 to 7 men. This hidden violence may have been at the hearts of many homes in the late 70s and 80s, and still remains so 40 years later. But Nan has made it known. She never hid from her gruesome situation nor the complete inhumanity of it all, but she created an awareness through the harsh nature of her work. She truly made a change with all her honesty, showing everyone, in regards to life, sometimes it's not pretty, but it's reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Polly. I wondered if I could ask about, do you think that photographs and art like this can have a change in society? Do you think that they work?
Completely. I mean, after looking deeper into Nan's work and actually being able to watch some of the documentaries about her things, documenting her history with domestic violence and her wounds and just her recovery process from it, it led for people to speak out to her about their own experience, something that they would have never expressed to the world. And that made them feel comfortable to talk to her about it. And it's just completely life-changing. And I think it really goes to show here. Thank you.